To this side if you've been infected, and that side if you have not been infected. Look at that. Okay. I have to confess, I think we've got a good number of you. We managed to infect a good number of you.
This is a great result. 72 people in this small gathering alone have been infected.
Yes, I was infected. I'm really surprised at the results. I've infected one person.
I know exactly where I got infected and what time I got infected, just purely because I'm on annual leave, so I haven't really done much, just potted around the house. So the one time I did go out, I actually got infected.
But this is just a fraction of all our volunteers in Hazelmere. To see how the infection moved from person to person, we need to look at the bigger picture. Our mathematicians from the University of Cambridge, led by Professor Julia Gogg, have finished crunching the data.
The first thing I want to show you is patient zero track, which is you. That's the high street there. So.
The gym there, that's where I go first, and that's where I go to yoga. Here I come.
The blue dot there is one of the other users, and they're uninfected because everyone else starts uninfected.
Okay.
It's only you that started infected. And let's see what happens when you cross paths with them.
Ooh. And here I come, ready to infect them. So I'm looping around because I'm doing some filming, and so that's them getting infected.
Now they're infected, and they're off up the high street.
So if they cross paths with someone else, there's a chance that that other person will get infected.
Exactly, so it's a chance, and the closer they are, the longer they are, infection could happen.
That's one person then. That's one infection. What happens next?
Well, let's have a look. So, just looking at zoomed out in the high street.
This is still me as I'm wandering around,
Yeah.
and now there's loads of dots, loads of people who are infected.
So the blue dots are people who haven't been infected yet, and you can see the orange or red with the circle around, and you can see you because you've got the extra dotted halo around.
And so often I come into contact with people, or people are coming into contact with each other and not getting infected. So it's not every single time.
No, it depends on proximity, length of time.
So that's the whole of Hazelmere. So now this is when I went off to the supermarket and in the pub, of course, at the end of the day. Vital way to end a day. We're now at 6 o'clock in the evening. I got there about 10:30 or so. How many people, by this point, are infected overall?
There were 77.
77?
Yes.
Just in one day?
That's right.
From me arriving. Okay. How many people did I infect then?
You infected 9 people.
So from that 9, more got infected. Mm-hmm. Wow.
With no immunity to our virus, by day 3, the infection has spread out of control through our volunteers.
Loads of people have this, all over the map. Oh my goodness. What have we done? Wow, it's everywhere. It's not even, you don't even just have little clusters anymore. It's literally everywhere. And people still getting infected. Oh my goodness. That is an extraordinary number of people to be infected from just one person walking down the high street.
Yeah.
In just 3 days, 86% of all people who took part were infected. Our pandemic virus spread like wildfire because no one was immune. If this had been a real virus, the town would have come to a standstill. Instead, it's created an extraordinary simulation of how an infection would spread from person to person. Even better, our app also reveals information that will help test how we can stop an infection spreading.
For those of you who were infected, your apps should also tell you how many people you went on to infect. How many people infected no one else? How many people infected 1 or more? 2 or more?
3 or more? 4 or more? 5 or more? How many did you get, sir?
6.
6, and madam? 5. Okay, these are our super spreaders then. You got 6 people.
I got 6 people. I'm feeling very guilty about it. And I already know I need to apologise to a lot of people at the coffee shop.
Oh, is that where you think it was? Where you think it happened?
Friday morning.
You were sitting in the coffee shop?
I was.
But actually, I've just noticed, I spoke to you on my patient zero walk. You were in the hardware shop.
That's right.
Is that where you work?
I do.
Did I infect you?
I assume so.
Now, how many people did you then go on to infect?
8.
8 people. That makes you the champion. I mean, it's not a great championship to win.
No.
So, do you think it was just people that you were speaking to in the shop?
I think it's just a high volume of customers that we have, really. Popular shop. I'm quite impressed, actually. I don't really know. It's quite shocking, really, 8.
As our data reveals, when it comes to infectious diseases, clearly we aren't all equal. Pandemic researchers call people like Justine social super spreaders, and they're thought to be key players in the spread of a real infection. It may seem obvious that someone whose job or lifestyle brings them into contact with a lot of people could spread more disease. But this is the first time they've actually been identified like this. Thanks to the app, we can now test a potentially life-saving idea.
If we can understand who the super spreaders are, then it might help with control. For example, a situation where we've got a vaccine, but either it's in short supply or we've got a very limited time to deploy it, so we can't just vaccinate everyone. And you've got to make some choice about who you're going to vaccinate.
Be selective.
Exactly, and rather than choosing at random, you can be really strategic and choose those who are going to affect a lot of other people or would have infected other people. So on the left is going to be our original hazelnut epidemic, and on the right is going to be our simulation of what would have happened if we vaccinate the super spreaders.
So how do you define that?
Yeah, so for this one, we chose the people who actually infected more than 3 other people, 3 or more.
So if you take those out,
Yeah.
vaccinate them so they're immune from the virus,
Yep.
and see how it changes.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was only 46 people, so it's a pretty small vaccine rollout. And what you see is the dots are in the same place, but...
So this is me, my little walk on the first day. A few, in fact, it's quite a lot going on this one. This is the one we've seen before. Much less, actually.
Then we're in day 2 now.
Far less. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So just vaccinating 10% of the population.
It's a much slower epidemic. We vaccinated 46. Stephen, you ran this one. How many fewer people were there infected in the super spreaders?
There were, 112 fewer.
Okay.
112. So that's people who weren't vaccinated but ended up not getting infected just by virtue of the fact that the super spreaders were protected away from the virus.
That's exactly right.
Gosh, it does make quite a big difference then.
We simulated the vaccination of only 10% of our app users, but targeting these super spreaders reduced the number of infections by 40%. Our app allowed us to identify super spreaders in Hazelmere. But in the real world, people who work in busy places like schools could also be super spreaders. Deciding who to vaccinate first with greatest effect is problematic. But there could be a way of identifying individual super spreaders before a contagion, and that could mean a revolution in pandemic prevention.
That's the theory being tested in a unique experiment. Researchers at Imperial College want to know if some people are biological super spreaders. Is there something about their genes that makes them become highly infectious? If there is a biological reason, there could be a test to identify super spreaders before an outbreak hits. And that's the revolution in pandemic control that could be starting here today.
It's about 7 a.m. and this looks like any ordinary hospital wing. In fact, it's a research facility. The patients through there are perfectly healthy for the time being.
Technically, Joydip Dutta isn't a patient. He's one of 10